I'm a certified forensic accountant, and I'm a certified internal control auditor. It's my pleasure and honor to be here this evening and present my report to you. We found situations where the city paid for a summer youth program to have painting done, and found out that in at least one occasion, we don't know the others, but at least one occasion, the city had to pay another $1,600 to get a painter out there to paint the house over again because it was so poorly painted that the youngsters painted the windows of the house. We found situations in Haitian American consortium that's very troublesome. For instance, we found where these paint jobs that were supposed to be done, but there was no paint ever bought. What we were told is that the paint was gotten from the city. When we spoke with the city people told us nobody came to them for the paint except Mrs. Poitier, who got 245 gallons of paint in one-shot deal. We have a situation where many times vendors that we see that are being used are questionable in nature as far as the work that they presented. For instance, we have a vendor that submits a bill on a company letterhead for $5,000, yet the city, and within the bill, the city cuts the check to a person, not the company that's submitting the invoice, but to a person, $5,000. And usually those type of situations take place based upon my 35 years experience doing this, is when somebody wants to take and cash a check and generate cash, rather than take a corporate check which must be deposited into a bank account.
So far, your findings, you're advising us to turn them over to the state's attorney, the HUD.
To the U.S.
You don't have to make that decision.
Okay.
We're doing that.
Okay.
I'd
All right,
just like
good.
to speak. I want to make it clear that Mr. Kessler was instructed that this report, this audit, was not to be opinions, that anything that's in that audit needed to be supported by documentation and numbers, which he has done.
Mr. Kessler, can you tell me, were you talking about Commissioner Poitier getting 245 gallons of paint?
That's what I was told, Commissioner.
Is it written anywhere?
I don't know. I assume in Public Works, since they told me that. They said, did you came with your crew and picked up the 245 gallons?
I came, Mr. Charlie here, there was a guy by the name of Rodriguez. Anybody here from City Paint that I ever came to pick up over 5 gallons of paint?
Sylvia, we can't, that can't be something, I'm jumping here.
No, but I asked him, I couldn't sleep with that kind of rumor out on my name. If anybody, nobody's here from Public Works, everybody going for Public Works.
I don't think it's right to put stuff on.
That's not.
There's a gentleman named Rodriguez that I have gotten paint from, but I would like to know when I came to City Hall and got 200 gallons of paint, Mayor, that whoever told Mr. Kessler said everybody black came out there, they counted them for me. I have never gone to that place. I got several people, 5 buckets of paint, when I would take them on my truck to paint their houses, and that's all. I have never been to Public Works and got over 5 gallons of paint at the time. And with different people on my truck, Totally Farm. Now somebody gonna have to make that clear and not defame my name. I have come too far with a clean character. If somebody say I got 200 gallons of paint from the city,
No, 245.
245 gallons of paint, you know,
225 to correct you,
Oh,
sir.
sorry.
You got 325
No,
gas?
225. You said.
Well, no, somebody got to answer that, and I need an answer tonight or in the morning.
It's right here. Turn to page
Now,
133.
but I know something else in the book ain't right since I've been looking on that, but I'm not going through that. I'm talking about my name, me, and who said they gave me 200 gallons of paint. And Mr. Man been there for a long time. He ain't never seen me with no truck full of paint. The highest number of paint I ever got from out there was 12 gallons, and I had 3 people in my truck. Now somebody needs to make it clear, but I'll get it straight. I'll see you tomorrow.
Wonderful. I appreciate that.
Yeah, and you will tell me the name of the person who gave you that information?
No, that was confidential
No,
information.
Sylvia, he can't do that. He can't, nobody can get
How
it.
can I be blamed for something I didn't get?
I'm sure it's gonna all come out where
Oh,
it's
okay.
gonna be, you know,
All
that's all.
right, they have to
Just-
document it too, I'm sorry.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
I would like to see that.
Commissioner Gantz.
If you read page 132 on the bottom and 133 on top, that'll explain the 200 and some odd gallons of paint. Then you can talk to them about it tomorrow when you have your interview.
131?
No, 132 on the bottom and 133 on the top. You don't have, I'm saying you can discuss it with them tomorrow. You're
Yeah,
gonna
if
meet
it's
with
in
them.
the book, that's what I need to
Yeah,
find.
but it's in
what
the
it-
book when you read it tonight.
And it will explain it.
I have nothing to do this evening, so I'm
Okay.
going to read mine.
132 what?
Page 132. Commissioner Gantz.
What,
And just one thing, though, I like Mr. Kessler. WDBA, have you received all the documentation to make a final conclusion about that organization?
No, we're still missing records. We're missing bank statements. We're missing general ledgers. In fact, there's a number of the entities that we asked for records to support the documentations since the city's records were so poorly kept. So we asked for supporting documentation. There are a couple of not-for-profits that retained attorneys and said that they would not turn over the records.
Mr. Morotis brought the topic or the issue before the city commission to go to court over WDBA not releasing documentations. Therefore, I think that we need to continue on at least the WDBA.
Yeah, I think
yes, the scope
Not
was very.
WDBA. They never held record back from me.
first off, I think there's a major conflict, and I don't think it's right to have anyone up here who's got a conflict to be advocating whether what we do or what we don't look into. I think it's completely wrong. I have a question for Mr. Kessler. Have you received full cooperation during your process, or was there a lack of cooperation in general?
It depends on who you're referring to. Certain not-for-profits that receive grant monies from the city, there was no cooperation.
One name I noticed missing in here is that we don't have anything about the Arlington Park family. This is separate?
Arlington Park was funded from the general fund. This strictly is looking at federal funding coming out of the Community Development Division, which we originally asked for. If you want to go in the direction of Arlington Park family, then that would be something for
Well, we
the
need,
commission.
we need the records. We have filed suit. We have not been able to obtain service yet.
So we've had, overall though, we seem to have had a lack of cooperation, and the West Side Businessmen Association has not cooperated fully?
Let's put it this way. It was like a dentist to pull teeth to get records.
Well, we have been asking since last summer to do an audit, and we've gotten nowhere.
And may I just add to that, the Haitian American Consortium, we had a similar problem to try to get records. Finally, we did get a slew of records in, as well as admissions that certain crimes were committed.